Good evening, just some extra information for our first years. So we'll put together a few slides for the students themselves, and hopefully it will answer some of the questions that we normally would get asked in the classrooms when we visit the primary schools. So I suppose the next few slides are talking about what first years can expect in 2021. So generally speaking, the normal questions we get when we visit the primary schools is, questions around the structure of the school day, where to go in the morning, what to bring to school, what about Microsoft Office, what does a timetable look like, what would the teachers expect us to do, what do we do at break time and lunch time, is there after school activities in the school, is there any fun days throughout the course of the school year, the school uniform. We'll introduce you to your year ahead, Mr. Paul Ryan, a little bit around the positive code of behaviour and some other information, and that will all happen over the course of this slide presentation. So the first thing, I suppose, unlike your primary school, your day will start at 8:50 in the classroom in the Coláiste. If you're travelling by bus from places like Ardfinnan or Claheen, your bus will start arriving to school at 8:20. So straight away you have a much earlier start to your school day than you would have been used to in primary school. Your small break would last for 20 minutes. Your lunch break this year is 30. That could revert back to 35 minutes next year. And school finishes at 3:40. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, with at 1:10 finish on a Wednesday. So that's what the structure of the school day looks like. It's 28 hours tuition time in total, and spread over 5. So the school day is broken down to 60-minute classes. On a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, you have 6 one-hour classes, and on a Wednesday, you have 4 one-hour classes. Previous to that, we were doing 40-minute lessons, and some lessons were doubles, which were 80-minute. But following government guidance for all schools last year, where we were to move to one period, we moved to 60-minute classes. And the feedback we have received from the students, especially the students who had worked both systems, and staff, was that the preference was to continue with the 60-minute class, because the feeling coming back from both students and teachers was that it was the most effective use of time in terms of teaching and learning. So that's what you'll be doing next year. You'll have 28 one-hour classes throughout the course of the week, and you'll have a school locker as well that we didn't have this year available to students because of COVID, but you will have a school locker similar to one here in the picture that you can have access to at morning time and break time and lunch time and evening time to help you organise your books and any other materials you need to bring with you to school. So in terms of where do you go in the morning time, well, the first years traditionally have been located at the front of the school. So in the morning time, you'll enter by the front door, which is, you can see there with the black arrow, and you'll come down the ramp to the right hand side, and what we've highlighted there in yellow is what we traditionally call the first year area. So those rooms down there will be assigned to first years, which will be your base rooms. Your lockers will be there, and some other lockers might be up near the principal's office, which is coloured in red. But the first years, you'll be based in that section of the school, and your year ahead, myself, Miss Tarrant and Mr. Delahunty, will be located very close to you, along with Carmel and Eleanor in the office. So it's a nice location for the first years. There's plenty of people that they'll get to know quite quickly, quite close to them. If they forget a key, we keep a spare key in the office for them and things like that. So that's where you'll go in the morning. Students normally come in, go down to their lockers, put their books in the locker, go into their base room for a chat, or if the weather is fine, they get outside and they go for a walk around the school, or what we traditionally call the school a lap. So what you need to bring with you, say the first day back, or in general what you need to bring in school each day, you will bring your textbooks for your subject that you have on a particular day, bires and pencils in your pencil case, any extra class materials that you might require, say if you're cooking in home ec, for instance, or you're doing a science project, you might be asked to bring in extra materials for that. Your student journal is really, really important, as you can see on the picture here. That's where students would label all their classes on the left hand side, and then they would write down work that they have done in the class plus homework. So it's a student journal, it's a diary, not just for homework but for recording what you do in each class. I'm sure your teachers will guide you through that process in each class as well. You obviously bring your lunch with you, unless you want to use the school canteen, and quite often students are bringing sports gear for training that, generally speaking, takes place after school. and that's what students would bring. Unfortunately, bags can be quite heavy. We're always trying to get students to purchase the bags with the wheels on them. And sometimes parents would buy a second set of textbooks that they would keep at home if they can get them cheap in a local shop. That mightn't be a bad idea either. So that's what you need to bring with you. In terms of ICT, you will have ICT classes throughout first year. The primary aim of the ICT classes will be to get you very familiar with using your Microsoft Outlook, which is your email. You will all get a Coláiste email address, and with that you'll also get access to Microsoft 365 products. They're the ones that you will be using quite regularly with your teachers will be OneNote. Microsoft Teams is also used along with other products like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. So each student gets their own email address. It will be the year that they enter the school plus their surname plus Coláiste CDI in it, and that's the one they will keep for the duration of their time with us in the school, with access to 3 Microsoft 365 products. A sample timetable. So here you see a sample timetable of a first year that we have this year. It's color coded. You can see on a Monday that this student has English for an hour, followed by religion, followed by maths. One of their options, which is music, one of their core subjects, geography, and one of their core subjects, history. And then on the Tuesday morning, they have art, which is an option subject, Irish, English, woodwork, which will be an option subject. So this student is doing music, art, and woodwork as their 3 options, science, PE. And then on a Wednesday, which we have 4 classes, which is 2/3 of the day, maths, science, geography, and information technology. So what you see there is in science, for instance, you see science 02, which means it's in room 2, and the science class is 1 science B, so it's the base class B, and the time. So what you're seeing there is the name of your teacher, the classroom that you'll be going to, and the time that the class is held. So that's a sample timetable. Here's another sample timetable for a person that might be getting extra help in school. Quite often, sometimes students don't do Irish, they have an exemption from Irish, and they will go to a tutorial class. So you can see this student here on a Tuesday second period has a tutorial with Miss Flynn. They also have a tutorial class, extra supports, on a Thursday and on a Friday, periods 3 and periods 2. This student's option subjects are, looking at them here now, the person is doing woodwork as an option subject, and they're also taking home economics and metalwork. So you see a student with different options again. So that's what your timetable look like, and later when your parents have the VSWare app on their phones at home, they will have access to this timetable as well. You'll obviously put this timetable into your student journal. A lot of students take a picture and put it on their phones also, so the night before you can get yourself organized for the classes that are happening on the following day. These are some examples of classwork. So when you're in class, students, you'll be doing a variety of things like ecosystems and right, which is coming from a science class, work project based. Camilla Harris, and that was a project where the students were looking at, for International Women's Day, they were looking at famous women across the world, in the world of politics and history, a project they were doing. You see some work from the SPHE wellbeing classes around positivity, another project for International Women's Day. We see some work here on this slide from the French department, so of students in first year studying French and presenting their work to their teacher in different formats. These are actual pictures taken from the home economics first year class from one of their practical cooking lessons. And again, this might be some of the extra material that you may have to bring on a certain day. And lastly, some work from science where the class put their work together and presented this in the form of a poster for students to share within their class base, which is 1A. So in first year, you'll be broken into 6 classes, base classes, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, and 1F, is it? So you have 6 base classes. You're generally speaking together for your base classes for a little bit more than half of your timetable, and the rest you're going to your option subjects, and sometimes it might be different classes for honours maths or pass maths, depending on people's abilities that we would have discussed with you in advance. So that's how your timetable would break down in terms of 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F, and you're generally speaking with that particular class for your core subjects. Yeah. At break time and lunchtime, students have access to their base class to eat at break time or lunchtime. So in the first year area, the rooms are open for all the base classes. Some students order food from the canteen, but that's a decision that you can make yourselves. There's no leaving the school grounds for first, second, third, fourth years, fifth and sixth actually at present, so no one can leave the school grounds at present. Students quite often just chat and walk at break times. They walk around the external of the building. They may, if the weather is really anyway decent, they will sit at different outdoor tables we have and have their lunch or have their snack at break time. But first, just have their own room open for them anyway for their lunch or for their snack at break time. So when school finishes, in normal times, that's when the school can get exceptionally active. You could have anything up to 150 students staying back to play sports after school. You could have students going to the different rooms doing project work in terms of woodwork, metalwork, technology. Music could be going on. There could be practice going on for the school musical. Hopefully we'll have music generation going after school next year. You could have students going to homework clubs. So it can be students getting ready for school study. So after school can be a hive of activity. And as you can see, all the different sports that we run in the school will take place at different times throughout the course of the year. Some students ask me how many sports they can play. Well, I'd be saying to you, you can play whatever sports that you enjoy playing. I would think you should try and play as much as you can play, as long as you can stay up with your studies in the classroom. And a bit of sport doesn't do anyone any harm whatsoever. And we always do find the students that excel in music, sports, projects, whatever it would be, generally speaking, excel in their academic achievements in school as well. So there you can see some photographs from this year, albeit at a very limited scale, but after school tends to be a very busy time. It may involve some arrangements for yourselves, especially if you're getting buses, because the buses go, they don't wait for things like that. But please God, we'll be back to the normal after schools activities next year. After school study runs every evening, 4 p.m. to 5:45, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, 2 p.m. to 5 on the Wednesday. Sometimes first years do sign up for study, but it's mostly third, fifth and sixth years, but the option is there. We hope to get back to running our homework clubs next year at different times for first years, which have proven very successful in the past. So study is available, first years can sign up for it, whether you have enough work or not to fill the time. That can be a concern at times, but certainly as you move up through the school in third, fifth and sixth year, study would fill every year with over 100 students taking the opportunity for supervised study after school. In terms of sports, there are some pictures of past winning teams in the last year or two. So we see boys football Munster winners. Girls have been very successful at both soccer, Gaelic football and camogie. We tend to bring successes every year to the Coláiste, but it's important, I suppose, that if you have a talent in that area, that you get involved with the school teams and that you participate to the best of your ability. That was our team that won the All-Ireland last year in camogie. They've missed out because they would have been up a grade this year, but please God, they'll get back to winning ways on the fields again next year. Some students on the left there, you see a group of students who entered a competition and got to an All-Ireland final in Enterprise using an innovative product called Unishield with Mr. Renan. We have Keane Murphy, who left I think last year as a 6th-year student. Captained the Irish soccer teams, fantastic soccer player now playing with Cork City, and obviously the Coláiste really has been and is a nursery for Tip Ladies football, and with the present players we have in the school, I've no doubt that we will continue to supply the vast majority of players to the Tip Ladies senior football teams. So on this one you have pictures here on the right. We had a very, very successful basketball team for numbers of years, and they were unlucky, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, to lose an All-Ireland senior basketball title in Tala. But we had a great day out. The students really did themselves proud in how they played, and our supporters were fantastic on the day as well. Underneath you see our chess team. They play 3 or 4 events every year, but they play chess every single lunchtime. They really enjoy their trips. We played the high school, I think, in a couple of games, and we also played the Munster chess competitions. So there are just two different types of sports that are available outside of the normal ones in terms of Gaelic football, hurling, camogie, soccer, basketball, athletics. And from time to time, different sports would appear throughout the year. You got a futsal going for first year's early parts of the year. You might have something like kayaking going in TY, but different sports appear and activities throughout the course of the whole year. The Coláiste has a very proud tradition in the whole area of music. On the walls of the school you can see all the school musical pictures for the last 20 odd years, and many a student has taken to the stage in the Coláiste and has enjoyed themselves and probably has discovered new talents that they felt that they wouldn't have had. And in my 6 years in the Coláiste, many a parent has left the hall with a tear in their eye having seen their young son or daughter perform live on stage. On this photograph here you can see our trad group competing in the Tipperary ETB talent competition, and this year we have signed up with Music Generation in Tipperary. I think we're a school that we're pushing hard over the last 6 or 7 years to get Music Generation to Tipperary, and over the coming years we certainly hope that we can develop this where lessons and different instruments become available at a significantly reduced cost to everybody in the school. We're going to hopefully grow a trad group in the school, develop a school choir and other activities. So if your interest is music, you could be entering an exciting time for the Coláiste, and we would be absolutely thrilled if you would share your skills with us and your talents with us. But if you're a student that is looking to play an instrument, learn an instrument, or get involved in different types of musical groups in the school, please God, the next 5-6 years you will get great enjoyment from that, and we will get great enjoyment from listening to you sing or play instruments or act on stage. So that's school music in the Coláiste. There are some students this year who entered art competitions. We have a very vibrant art department. They get involved in various competitions throughout the course of the year. They also get involved in the Junket Tour program in TY. But again, it's another avenue and for students who have a talent in this particular area. Fun days throughout the school year. You can see some photographs from this year's Christmas jumper day. We had a great fun in the school where people made a huge effort in terms of dressing up, and we raised a substantial amount of money for local charities. So throughout the course of the year, Christmas jumper day is a big day. Market day, which is an enterprise day, is big in the school. Sports day at the end. We have a friendship week and a well-being week. We have a walk in my shoes day. We have retreat days, year group tours. I suppose one of the big tour events is Mr. Delahunty would organise his annual trip to Old Trafford. Obviously we haven't gone in a couple of years, but please God, that'll be one that'll be back on the agenda again. And that used to always be a very successful trip for first years and some second years. We'd nearly always have 100 kids come in a bus or 2 buses as we headed over to Manchester for a trip. It was a great way for first year students to get to know each other and for us to get to know the students. So please God, that'll be returning again. The uniform is the petrol colour or the green colour for our junior cycle students, and it's navy for our senior cycle students, and it can be got in Uniform World in Clonmel. There's no image of the tracksuit, but the tracksuit can be purchased there as well. And we take great pride in the uniform. The students here on the right are some students from our academic awards occasion, I think from 2 years ago. A tracksuit can be worn the day of PE, so the students don't have to be changing in and out of different uniforms. So there's one day a week where students can wear tracksuits. During the last 12 months during COVID, we haven't been as strict as per normal on the uniform, as students, because of the colder weather within the school building, students have been wearing different types of jackets to keep warm, and I think that has been okay too. So what I'll be saying to any first year student coming in, you can see in the top right hand corner there is our debating team. That was a team that I think they went to UCC this year and last year and did quite well. It was 3 years previously. We have an All-Ireland winner in debating. I think we're one of the few non-public, non-fee paying schools to have won an All-Ireland in a debating competition. And we're quite strong at this particular area, especially at senior level. I know the teachers have planned to get going with junior cycle debating teams as well. So, that's an activity that some students might get involved in. As I mentioned in the previous slide, there's the picture of the students who've gone to on one of our trips. I think that one was to Tato World, where we went to a Munster-Leinster rugby game, and then we proceeded on to Tato Park outside County Dublin. That was at the first and second years, I'd say, of 2 years ago. So we have our library club going at lunchtime. Students can drop in, read a book. Chess club goes at lunchtime. Music generation will be running in the school musical, debating, student council, green schools, enterprise competitions, and there will be other student leadership opportunities as well, along with the sport and all of that. So what I would say is get involved, try something new, and that really cements your relationship with the school when you get involved in activities. And it's what makes the school exciting as well for us, is when students are getting a great sense of joy out of representing the school in different types of activities. And it definitely leads to promoting an all-round student as they move through the 6 years with us in the Coláiste.
Good morning, everybody. You're very welcome to the Coláiste. My name is Paul Ryan, and I've been teaching here in the Coláiste for the past 23 years. And it's been my privilege or my pleasure to be in the year head for the first years for the last number of years. So what do I do as year head? Well, first of all, I suppose the transition from primary to post-primary school, it's a very, very exciting time for all of the students. And it's a huge event in their life. And while it brings a huge amount of changes, the vast majority of students adapt to life in the Coláiste without any bother. But for some, I suppose that transition takes a little bit more time, and we're very mindful of that. So my role basically is to meet them on the first day, is to be visible to them, to be available and to be approachable to them. So that if they have any issues or any problems or anything that they need to ask, there will be loads of questions, there will be loads of, everything will be new to them. And I will always do my very best to help resolve whatever problems or difficulties that they might have. I suppose from a parent's point of view then, Mr. Creedon has already spoken to you about the close relationship that is essential between you, the students, the parents and us in the school. I suppose from day one I tried to build that relationship and the lines of communication between home and school. So as year head, I will be the first point of contact for you in the school. If you are concerned for any reason, or if you have any question about your child's settling in, you can always make contact with me. I feel that, like first year, it's all about settling in. It's about establishing good habits as regards things such as attendance, punctuality, establishing a very positive work ethic. And these are all qualities that will stand to your child as they progress further in the school. So as year head, I suppose working with all of the other supports in the school, my job is, I suppose in short, is to make your child's first year in the Coláiste both very happy and very, very successful. So our code of behaviour is very clearly outlined in the school journal, and I think we have developed the code of behaviour over a large number of years based on best practice and based on what we see on the ground here. And our code of behaviour, right, it outlines our expectations of the students. It gives us the rules, the rewards for positive behaviour, and in the case of misbehaviour, what sanctions will be and can be applied. But I think the overarching principle of our code of behaviour is that we are always trying to dwell on the positive, and we will always be trying to look for what is working well, to build on that, and to try to find the child, doing the right thing, and to try to reward them for that. Every single year, on a number of occasions throughout the year, students will get positive VSTD. The students will start off with 100 VSWare points, and if they are involved in something very good in the Coláiste, if they do exceptional work, if they are kind to other students, they will build up their points. So they will get positive points from any member of the staff for all the good things and the nice things that they do. If a child is making an exceptional effort, does an exceptional piece of work, Well, they will build up their points. On the other hand, of course, if a person is not doing their homework and is not following the rules, well, then they may lose points through the negative system. But at various different points along the way, for example, when they get to 110 points, well, at that stage, we will present each of the children with a certificate to outline their achievement and to just say to them, well done, and they'll clap on the back and say how well you are doing. Another milestone will be if students reach 125 points, which is an extremely positive step, and it's a huge achievement for them. And if they reach 125 points, they will then be presented. Up to now, we've presented them with a collage de beanie or a mask or something like that, to just mark their achievement. And of course, any student then who reaches the huge total of 140 points for the year, you will be involved in a draw at the end of the year for some sort of an electronic device. So once again, I think, as I said, the overarching principle here is that we're always trying to find the good, and we're always trying to dwell on the positive here in the Coláiste. Now, I suppose as first year head over the last number of years, I've become acutely aware of the challenges that do face students. I suppose you're coming from, in some cases, a school where you might have somewhere between 50 and 100 to maybe 200 students in the school, and you're coming into the Coláiste now where we have over 720 students. So therefore, a lot of what you've known about education is going to change. You're coming from a bigger school to a smaller one. Maybe in some cases you're leaving some of your friends behind, you're meeting new friends, you'll live your longer day, of course, you'll be changing classes every hour. You will be meeting a lot more teachers in the day. And for first year students, that does take a little bit of time. So we will be there every step of the way. All of the supports in the Coláiste, including the mentors, will be on hand, because they are people that are in the uniform, and they've been there just a number of years ago. And they can give you a lot of advice on that. As well as that, I suppose it's getting into the greater workload of second level school, and getting yourself organised, getting used to things like using your locker, getting your books organised for your class, having your PE gear on for the correct day, and so on. So there are a lot of challenges, but you know what? They're very, very positive. And I think the vast majority of students very, very quickly, they get used to this. It does take time, absolutely it does take time. And we all work together as a team, the parents, the students and the school. And if there's any difficulties or any problems at any point along the way, you pick up the phone, you make contact with us, and we will always do our very, very best to help you in any way that we possibly can. With a student population now of over 720 students this past year, we now have a staff of approximately 80 people working here on the ground any day. Now this comprises about 64 should I say, teachers, about 12 SNEs, as well as our ancillary staff. And as the caption here says, we've a large staff working for you. And I think in the Coláiste we're very, very proud of the community aspect within the Coláiste, that we all look out for each other, we all work for each other. And as the caption says, a large staff, we are working here for you. And we will do our very, very best for you at every step along the way. Not least among this is our ancillary staff. We have Paddy and Martin, which is our caretakers. We have Eleanor and we have Carmel in the office. We have Lisa and Breda then, who are our cleaners here. And I think it's apt to say that at our graduation ceremony every single year, it is the ancillary staff that get the biggest boulabos or the biggest round of applause, because students do realise and they do appreciate the huge effort and the huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. and to keep the show on the road. So whether you're looking for the boots that you left behind in PE, or you're looking for a project to be bound that you left until the last minute, or you can't find your jacket, there's always somebody here in the class that you can turn to and will help you in any way that they possibly can do.